Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to the Cultivating Healthy Relationships podcast with Dr. Allen. You know, we had such a wonderful time last week, Doc, talking about the power and control cycle. I mean, when I say good time, I mean, it was good information. It was very good quality information, and the kind of information that I believe is so essential for people who are experiencing any kind of domestic abuse. That issue of power is so important for us to understand the dynamics of it. And I so thank you for coming back again this week so that we can now examine the area of violence, the cycle of violence. And so thank you again, Dr. Allen, and I'm going to ask you to just lead off, just tell us, what is the cycle of violence?
All right. So we were saying the last time that one of the main goals of domestic abuse is for the abuser to have power over the victim and to over the abused person, and to also have control, and that he or she uses a variety of techniques to make sure that power is kept and that control is kept. A variety of techniques.
Yes.
Right? And it's good to understand, so one does not fall prey to those techniques. Now, the thing is this now, that what enables that person to keep those techniques going, to keep that power and control going by those techniques?
Yes.
You see, because sometimes people find themselves getting locked into domestic violence. And remember, we were saying that violence is not just physical, it's emotional. There are different types. And many of them are described in the power and control wheel. Now, the cycle of violence was set up by somebody named Lenore Walker in 1979 in a book called The Battered Woman. And this was set up trying to explain the complex dynamics that occur in abusive relationships. Because it's really complex. And as we have been saying, the average person, unless they have experienced it or gotten close to people who experience it, or are trained or have had clients, they are not going to even believe it or understand it, or that could happen. So the first aspect of the cycle of violence that keeps it going, there are three stages that keeps it going. There is the tension building stage, then there's a violence stage, and then there's a honeymoon stage.
Wow.
Right? Okay. And each stage is defined by certain characteristics. So during the tension building stage now, right? That, at first people may feel, well, that things are not so bad and so on. The man might come in from work, or they're sitting down together somewhere and nice breeze is blowing and so whatever. And the other person may think things are okay. But with the abuser now, they find themselves becoming increasingly hostile. The hostility is building up. They begin to feel more stress building up, and begin to feel, boy, the canary, boy, she just a difficult woman. She just give me a warm time. Sometimes I can't speak to her the way I want to. She always back chatting me. and have these bad friends and want to stay too close to her family. Look at her, and begin to feel more hostile. Like I just
Yeah.
feel, and I feel stress. Why she doesn't feel stress and just give me a headache, man? Make my life difficult. What kind of woman this? You know? And next thing it busts out. What happened to you? What are you going to for? And she may say something and I say, you're talking nonsense. She said no, because also. But why? And then I have a big argument bust out now. Right? As the tension begins to build. And then it may escalate to the point now where it goes to the second stage now. The tension is building up and it goes to the second stage, which is the stage of injury.
Mm.
He may hit her or, use emotional injury, insulting, disrespect,
Yes.
and other types of injury, try to prevent her from going out, whatever it is. But injurious, right? And um, you know, so the person who is experiencing that injury now is feeling bored. They want to find some way, some intervention. They need some intervention to get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get help now to get out of this
Yeah.
this abuse that has started up, in this cycle of violence. But the 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 man begin to use his head now.
Mm.
Let him say, you know what happened? We can't take this thing too far, because then she might, really want to leave and run and, tell people about it. So I tell you what, all right, I get off enough now, and then the honeymoon stage comes up now. If say I have to get her back now under control. Him say, darling, it's me said that a while ago. It's me behave like that a while ago. That couldn't be me. No, sir. That is not who I am. That's not me. I'm not that type of person. I am sorry if I did it. I'm really very sorry. I'm going down on his knees and then begin to cry.
Cry.
Yes, have
Won't
mercy.
happen again. Will never happen
And
again.
it will never, I promise you, as God is my witness, I promise
Witness.
you, it
Yes.
will never. And if it happen again, I give you just leave me,
That's it.
you know. And then now she begins to feel that, boy, look how he's, probably this man wants to change.
That's it.
And she begins to have some hope now that he's going to change, you know. And then um
Doc, I need to say something about this one
yes,
because
yes,
you know
yes.
it so resonates with me, and I've written about it in the book as well. It's that point where and for me it reminds me of several times that I've been in the counseling room, where you're in the counseling room and you're reporting that this thing happened. There was this violence that took place that I'm uncomfortable with. And by this time, he is weeping. I mean, we're not talking about crying. He's weeping in the counseling room. And the counselors are like, obviously there's something wrong with me because he wants me. He loves me. And why do I want to escape somebody who is loving me? And so I'll never forget that when I went into your room, your office one day, because I'd been going to you on a number of occasions. And I remember going in there one day and you said, oh, you're the woman whose husband has rejected you, right? And I said to you, no, Doc, he has never rejected me. He always said that he loved me. He always want me back. And it was years later when I was writing the book, I realized that, one of the things you always say is that don't only listen to what people say, look at their action, look at what they do. Because you can't be telling somebody that you love them, and then at the same time, you are treating them like dirt, treating like them less than human and disrespecting them. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, the flowers, the showers of love and all of the attention and everything. And then you're back to square one within a very short time. And so this is why it's a cycle. It's such an evil cycle, and a lot of women get caught in it. And it's just several years of going through this cycle, and then suddenly, and sometimes it's not until you say the same children that you're trying to protect, they're the ones that are able to see through the thing, because the people in the church are there thinking, oh, he's such a nice man, why would she want to run off and leave him? And it's the children, it's the people who are in the house who are able to see beyond all of the facade and all of the craziness. It is only then that you realize that something is wrong with this picture. Absolutely wrong.
Yes. You see, and because it's going in a cycle, that is what tends to keep it going.
That's it.
Because you will find that the woman is or the abusee, yes, it could be man or woman, the person who is being abused. Their main concern is the pain that they are feeling and wanting to get out of the situation. Right? Yes.
Once the pain goes, then you're fine.
Yes.
You're fine again.
Yes, that is it. Yeah. And the abuser, their main concern is that they want to keep the person in the situation. So they are going to use all the tactics now to keep the person in that situation. And that's why you find,
yes,
that's why you find now, in some countries there is a law that if a woman reports and has evidence of abuse, that they have gone to a doctor who has written a medical report,
yes,
that this woman has had an injury, injuries, and they describe the injuries, or there's video evidence or other evidence that would hold up in court, right? And now the woman is seeing now that, this man is this is the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is getting into his remorse now and all of that before the police. And then now she's saying, to herself, boy, I think him going to change,
Mm-hmm.
Him really looks sorry.
In front of the police.
And I think he can change, Now, as I say, some countries will have a law that once there's the evidence, that is it.
That's
the
it.
man is going to be charged. Some countries say that the woman has got to press charges.
Yes.
Otherwise, they can't do anything. And I think Jamaica is one of those.
Jamaica is one of those.
Yes. No. So people wonder if women who are being abused, if they are serious, they are saying, well, it's her fault. Why she's staying in this thing so long and getting abused to that? It's her fault. But they are not realizing about the techniques of power and control, that cycle, and about the cycle of violence.
That's it.
So that part of it now, that is the honeymoon and so on. They're not recognizing the tricks of the trade, right? And how you can work on people's minds.
Brains.
Because I think about scammers. I'm sure people have heard about scammers in Jamaica and other countries too, who they get the numbers of elderly women in developed countries. And these, whereas in developing or rural places where you have neighbors around you and You're not lonely because you have
Yes.
Miss Jane next door, or your grandmother, your sister lives nearby. But in an urban area with high-rise buildings, and you're isolated in your little apartment, and your daughter and sons live in different states, and they can only come now and then. So we have in Jamaica these work institutions that handle inquiries from different countries and so on,
Right.
right? Um, Now,
The call
some of these
centers.
scammers,
Yeah, they steal a list of names.
they steal the list
Mm-hmm.
or have inside persons,
Yes.
and they get the names and numbers of these and of elderly people.
Yes.
So they will call them and they will say, "Hello, grandma," you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and they say, "How you know my name?" And they call the name. Oh man, I know your daughter. She's and I know how lonely you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine that you don't see your children very often, and probably you're feeling down, and you know, but I'm here for you because I know how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother has been, and I'm here for you. And I will call you every day, man, and keep you company, you know. And she feel good.
Exactly.
And then she now begins to get kind of hooked onto this gentleman. And after a while, now he begins to say to her, Grandma, I'm having financial problems
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting in trouble and I might arrest me next week. And I just need, you know, $1,000 US. And I'll give it back to you. I'll say,
Yes.
God, there, I'll give it back to you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just take the next plane down, and, bring it, you know, and they have done it.
Yes.
And these people, they get addicted to the company, and
Yes.
they will bring the money down in the
Cycle.
suitcase and give it to the young man.
But
And
even when the police alert them to the fact that this is a scam, they still do it. So
they still do it.
it's a cycle. It's a
Yes. So I'm
cycle.
saying the way that these people can use their brain
Yeah,
is a similar way that abusers
that's it.
can scam the abusee.
Exactly.
Hey, darling, I'm sorry. And they cry in the police station, and and they said, God knows, next time it never happen. And then the woman says to the police, "No, Corporal, I tell you what, let it stay because it looks like it really upset him. And
Yeah, man.
I think he will change, and I think things will improve. So let it go. Don't worry to do anything about it, you know? And then that is the end of it. And of course, the beginning, the cycle goes over
Over
and
again,
over and
again,
over
and again.
again. You know?
Boy, Doc, I mean, as a victim of this kind of thing, it pains my heart because it's so hard to be able to explain to people that, I think it was Dr. Phil or one of these guys that, in my book, I think there's a Dr. Nora who said that the only solution is to remove yourself.
Yes.
And the reason for that is that the power that once you've removed yourself, they no longer have that victim because they need that person in order to
Yes.
continue that cycle. And so once that person removes themselves, then they've lost control. But that's the only solution. That was what they said. And I found it very stunning that, it has to come to that. It's almost as if there is absolutely no other way because it's like the minute that person comes back, there's going to be another cycle of the same thing. And I mean, I know you can't say it, but I am saying it. People who find themselves in this situation, they need to remove themselves safely because there is no way that they will never change. I mean, only God can change people. And It's very
Yes.
rare, as you said, Doc. When you said
Yes.
it to me, I found it so interesting because I had been praying and praying and praying and praying. And I mean, at the end of the day, you realize that there's just some things that God is just saying, you need to get out.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the only
Because the human mind is very suggestive, you know. If you go to a pipe and throw on water, you know, in a developed place, you don't expect the water to poison you. If you go on a plane, you don't expect that the plane would mash up.
No.
You'd figure that they would have checked the plane
Yes.
and say it's okay, and that you would expect the pilot to be drunk, you know.
That's it.
That they have done all the checks.
Yes.
So when this man speaks in this way now of, you know, how he's going to be so kind and so good, and you know, he didn't mean to do it, and he's remorseful,
And as
and
you
he's
said, that
going to go to
honeymoon phase,
counseling,
that
he's going to
honeymoon
go to the
phase.
pastor, he's going to start going to church,
Yes.
and he will start speaking to his friends and brothers to keep him in check, and
Yes.
all of those things.
Yes.
You know, all of us are suggestible, and and none of us want to think badly of people. We prefer to think the best of people.
Of course. At least I know I try to do that. You know?
Yes.
I mean, you want to do that. But
Yes.
you can't believe that somebody's mind could be so messed up that they would literally, I mean, when I tell you, I call it playing the long game. You know, it's like
Yes.
there's just this way in which they're willing to wait and wait and wait. And I mean,
And
somebody
hope.
asked me the other day, Doc, you know, so having gone back, how many weeks after that did he change? I can't answer that question. I don't know when the breakdown took place again. I just know that I went back happily. He had changed. He was different. He was, you know, very nice to me and all of that.
Honeymoon's phase.
And I don't know when the breakdown took place, but I know I got back to the same place where I was.
The tension phase built up, and then the injury. Injury phase.
Yeah.
Mm.
But the honeymoon is sweet, as you say. You know, the honeymoon phase really, I mean, when they come back so nice.
Yes.
And so, you know, anybody like you or, you know, any other counselors making any sense, you know, you shun them and you say, no, man, that counselor don't have any sense, man. Look what nice to me.
But you see, as you have said, that what we are saying is that we have to, each person has to love themselves first before they love their spouse. They must love themselves first.
That's it.
And the spouse must love themselves first too.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you love yourself first, you must demand that anybody out there is going to respect you. If you go to the bank, you want the best service.
Amen.
If you go to the supermarket, you deserve the best service. Because God, you are made in the image of God.
Exactly.
You deserve justice. You deserve respect. You deserve wellness. You deserve to be well.
Amen.
You don't deserve nobody. You don't deserve for anybody to make you get under stress and make you get sick.
That's it.
No. You are responsible for your own wellness.
Amen.
Not anybody else.
Amen.
They can assist. But if you are seeing where somebody is threatening your well-being and your wellness and your career and your progress in life, and you love yourself, then you're not going to allow that person to, you know, because you know the person doesn't love you.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
And, you know, people might fall in love because they say, okay, I don't want to be single, man. I must find a man, you know. And, you know, I like men who are tall and handsome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and all the sweet talk and, you know, the roses, you know, and all the nice things, and you just melt in his arms type of thing, you know.
Oh,
But
boy.
and then you lose that love for yourself. You love him so much now that you forget to love yourself.
That's it.
And the
That's
little
it.
things start to come in, and you say, oh, you don't chopped. Actually, him may change, man. Him may change. And by the time you know it, you are
Back to
in
square
that
one.
cage. You are
Back
in
to
that
square
cage.
one.
Yes. So what we're saying is that the first little sign, if somebody begins to get a little rough,
Yes.
you know, and begin to a little shout, raise a voice, and try to make a fool of you in some way, or some little thing not right.
Degrade
Even if
you.
the person apologizes or say they didn't mean it or anything like that. Once you feel that inside, you are feeling bad. You're feeling bad inside with somebody. Anybody who make you feel bad, we always have to be in positive relationships.
That's it.
Every relationship here must be a positive one.
That's it.
Anybody who makes you feel badly about yourself or bad in any way,
Yes.
and they are not guilty about it. And I mean, some people may make a mistake, and they say they may have a weakness, and they say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
That's it.
And and those,
You know it's an error. It's a
yeah,
you
yes,
can feel that the person
yes,
genuinely did not intend to
yes,
harm you. You know.
but you're not feeling it's an error. You just feel bad,
Yes. Yes.
with that person, and you feel confused. Take it as a red flag. Take it as a red flag
That's it.
that you're
That's
not
it.
going to get into that
Yes.
type of relationship.
And you know
People's people's
this.
inner attitude don't change.
That's it.
Uh, Only God can change it.
And you see, the issue for me, Doc, is as you say, because I've got to the point now where, and I've seen it so many times, like at church, for example, where you misread a situation, and church is like the perfect place to be offended. I don't know if you agree with me. It's like the pastor never did call your name, him call everybody else's name, and somehow your name got missed out.
Yes,
The question is it that the pastor really never remember, or the pastor is being mean, and
yes.
the only way to find out is to go to the pastor. And having gone to the pastor, now this is now the point at which you are able to say, to make an assessment as to whether this pastor was genuinely forgetful, or there is some little thing that's happening there. And
Yes,
I think for me, the most important thing I've learned in this stage of my life is confronting the person,
yes,
and not
yes.
making assumptions about, what their intention was or whatever. Is
Mm,
going to them directly and saying, I'm a little uncomfortable about something you said, or, the fact that you didn't do that, or, and just because a lot of times people are so caught up with a lot of other things that are going on that they,
yes, yes,
genuinely forget. So
yes,
it's important that we don't just assume that everybody who makes you feel uncomfortable, they're being mean. There are times when, but as you say, it's how that person responds to you that will make you
yes,
understand that, does this person really intend to be harmful, or was this just an omission,
yes. And,
Yeah.
and and what you are saying is important, that
Yes.
you should be able, because we have spoken about communication in healthy relationships, to and fro, give
Yes.
feedback, clarify, and caring emotions well.
Yes.
Being able to say, I forgive you, I did wrong, and this type of thing, I made a mistake, and so on. So one should be able to say, I was a little puzzled about something you said yesterday. I'm not saying that you meant any harm, but I just really want to clarify what's happening, and
That's it.
and then you know after a while the truth is going to come out. But
For
in
sure.
all of this, you have to love yourself. We have
Amen.
to love ourselves first. And
Amen.
when we talk to the person, discuss it, we leave the discussion feeling better
Yes.
about ourselves.
Yes.
And we say, okay,
Yes.
it was a genuine error, it was a misunderstanding, and I know that person has my back, and I can trust that person,
Yes.
and I will be there for them. You feel better. It's
Yes.
a positive relationship. You
Yes.
feel positive.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if the person says something and you're not so sure, you say, all right, give them a chance. But you still have something niggling in your mind. You don't feel fully better. And
Yes.
then another 2 weeks now, you've gone back and you feel bad again. And in the long run, as time goes on, you're not feeling any better, you're feeling worse.
It's
Then that is a sign.
time to go.
Time
Time
to
to
go.
quit.
Yes.
Get out.
Yes. You see, and there is something, as you're saying, about society, friends, church,
Mhm.
workplace, and all that, who might know the person on the surface
Yes.
and not know the real person. And they are saying to you, but it's not good to start a relationship and to leave a. Many people feel it's not good. Mark, nowadays, divorce is more common and,
Yes.
you know, um, fidelity is less, but still, there are still friends and other people who are saying, no, 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 give it a chance, man, give it a chance. It's a good person, a wonderful person. And they don't know, they don't understand because they don't know the dynamics
That's it.
of abuse,
That's it.
the power of and control
Yes.
wield. They don't know the cycle
Cycle
of
of
violence.
violence.
Yes,
That
so
honeymoon phase, man. That is the
yes,
killer, doc. Is the
yes.
killer.
And I will say it, that I used to hear people say that when they're in that honeymoon phase and the person shows remorse and begin to cry and they make up, they make up no man.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard people say, man, that sex is sweet when you that make up sex is the sweetest sex.
Right.
That's what I've heard people
Indeed.
say.
And I had that in,
you
I
know.
put that in my book.
But
I mean, I never said it like
but
that, but did I stay for the sex is a very important question, because once you leave that,
that's another issue.
yeah, once you leave that person, it means no that you are now subject to either fornication or adultery for
Yes.
a number of years. And so the question is, are you going to go back to legal sex, or am I going to be hanging out there maybe in sin? It's
Yes.
one of those. It's such a. But I agree with you. I mean that I agree with what you just said there. That that makeup, that honeymoon, because it's really honeymoon, and honeymoon is
Yes, exactly. And
everything
the
is great during
and the
honeymoon.
abuser is tender and is gentle, most gentle
Perfect,
person.
perfect.
And he makes all the right moves and
That's it.
yes,
That's it.
Mm,
Perfect in every way.
yes, oh yes, yes, yes,
And
yes,
you go back to that honeymoon phase of saying, oh my goodness, if this is what marriage is about, I want to be in it for the rest of my life.
yes, yes,
But
yes,
I do, as I say, I can't remember how long that phase lasts for, but I know that it always deteriorated.
yes. But
Always went
but I
back.
have said to myself that abusers, they have a kind of power. It would you almost would think that they have a power over people. You would almost think that they have a power over people when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
All the tricks of the trade and all that, you'd almost want to believe that they have a power.
Yes.
Just like Hitler, for example. He had a power over the Germans.
Definitely. Yeah,
And when
for
he said
sure.
this and that,
They
they
were
used to do,
all, let's go. Let's kill the
yes,
Jews. Oh my.
yes, and people who are narcissists
Yeah.
and people who are sociopathic,
Mm-hmm.
they have the gift of gab.
Yes,
And they
yes.
know how to talk and to behave and to manipulate.
Mm,
And they have a kind of, unless you are there looking out for yourself, loving yourself first, watching for action,
yes.
knowing what people can do, being wise, they can have power over.
Over you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Very sad situation. And
But
I mean,
it's
we're talking
real.
about it here. And Doc, I never know that this existed until I came to have those conversations with you, because I I just thought, this was just a normal situation. It's not normal. It's a different kind of, it's not just a regular, oh, let's, this person is having a quarrel with their spouse. It's not a regular thing we're talking about here. This is I don't know what you want to call it, that, but it is beyond just the normal. So people have to understand, it's not everybody's relationship we're talking about here. We're talking about the kind of relationship in which we go into these cycles. In my case, and let me just, for people who have not read my book, I went back 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
6 times I went back. God rescued me on the 7th time. I was rescued because I knew I would have gone back again. Right? I would have gone right back if it wasn't for God's rescue. And so I'm telling you, this is not a joke. And I've seen other people who are going through it. And, it's hard because, the other day, a friend of mine, she was crying. I saw her in the car and she was crying. And she had another friend who was in the car, and she was talking about her husband, and she needed to, he was just so abusive. He would come to the house even though they were separated, and he would scream at her. And and the other lady was saying to her, don't worry, just pray to the Lord and he will help you. And the lady was just going on and on. And she saw me and she asked me to come into the car, and I went into the car. And I mean, I said to her, I was just so straightforward. I said, this is abuse. You need to tell him not to come back to your house. You need to get out of that place. You need to sell that house, and you need to go your separate ways. I mean, the other lady around the back, she couldn't believe I was saying this, but I mean, it's the only way to go in a situation like that. I'm not saying every situation, but in a situation like that, it's the only solution.
Yes, yes.
I'm
And
sorry.
you see, people, and that is why I believe, I really hope that, we can have more professionals who are trained
Definitely.
in domestic abuse, uh,
Definitely.
you know, and more groups of persons who have survived,
Yeah.
who can come together and
Yes.
to be there for people who have been through it,
That's it.
and to help them to really understand what it is like. But
Indeed.
unless you are trained, unless you have been through it, or you have been had close friends, and you really understand it by virtue of close friends or
Yeah.
being a professional or being through it, the average person will
They
not
will never
not
understand it.
they will never believe that
Never believe it. And
things
I
like
must say,
that could ever happen.
is my daughter who was able to help me. My daughter went to you. Right? And that was what got me out, because I needed somebody who was there, who could say, but mommy, this is not right. Something is
Mm,
wrong with this. You need to get out of
mm,
it. You know,
mm,
other
mm,
than that, I
mm.
would be in the same, I would have gone back the
In the
7th time.
same
I tell you,
cycle.
yeah, I would have gone back.
Yes,
Because it's
yes.
the same, it's just been nice. Everybody is saying, go back, Jackie. He loves you. You don't
Mm,
hear him
mm,
seem
mm.
crying. Anyway,
Yes.
yes, Doc. So, cycle of violence. And
Cycle of violence.
the next one we'll be doing is the is about the children, and
The
that's a
children,
very
yes,
important,
that's going to be important.
very
Very, very
important,
important.
because it's another cycle again,
Yes,
another
exactly.
cycle we have to be concerned
Mm.
about. Yes,
The effect, the use of the children and the effects of the children, and then they carrying it on and
to the
so on,
next
Yes,
generation.
generation.
Mm,
Mhm.
generational
Yes,
curses.
yes.
So
Life is interesting. When I say
very
interesting,
interesting, very
in
interesting.
that there are so many things that we thought we understood and we
Yes,
thought we knew, and we don't.
we
There's
don't,
so much to learn.
we don't.
So much to learn.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much again, Doc, and I really hope that this was helpful to some persons. And as I said before, if you like what you see, like, if you know that there are persons out there that need this information, please share and subscribe so you can know whenever we're putting out a new video. But every Sunday at 3 p.m. we'll have a new video out, and it will be up so that you can watch it in the replay. And so thank you again. I don't know, Doc, if you have another last word. I know the last time you had that 2 brothers at the end. I don't know if you have any brothers this time.
I think we have covered most of it, but my thing for today is that people who are abusers are geniuses at deception, at manipulation, uh, and we have to look at not what is said, but at action. We have to look for positive, constantly positive relationships and interactions,
Yes.
and not mixed positive and negative. It must be always positive.
Consistency.
Yes, consistency.
Yes.
Consistently positive.
Yes.
You may sleep and whatever, but
Yeah.
consistently positive
Yes.
actions despite what is said. That is what
Amen.
I'm saying mainly for today.
Amen. Thank you so much again, Jack. Have a
Such a
great
pleasure.
rest of the day, everybody. Bye.